What's up, friends? Welcome back. It is Reasonably Prudent Vegan here doing another race update. Technically this race took place last week, but for reasons which will be explained in the video, we're doing it a week later. So I'm going to do what I always do and defer to my lovely counterpart. How did your race go?
Alright, well, she said this was the Cypress half marathon in Cypress, Texas. It was last weekend.
Sunday, 11/11, magical day.
Right. We got, obviously, the medal, the shirts, not bad, this coffee mug thing.
Nice.
And it went pretty good. I would give this one probably 4 Keanos out of 5. Mostly because the aid stations were probably the worst ones I've ever had. Not to say that the people were there. I mean, they were like high school kids, I think.
They were very enthusiastic.
The kids were great. They just didn't really know what they were doing, and it was incredibly frustrating. Every time you came to one, there was like 2 of them. They were sitting like this, and they had their water like this, and then
Like 2 of them in their hand.
Yeah, everybody would just come up and stop right there.
Oh, am I in your way? I'm sorry. Is this
Yeah,
a race?
and so there's the 2 kids, and then there's not another water station or more kids with water, and you're like, okay.
That didn't happen at the back, but continue.
Well, and I wasn't doing very good. I came in around 2:04, I believe, which is
My best time ever.
maybe my slowest, if not my second slowest. Just because I was just kind of plodding along, going for it. Because I hadn't trained too crazy. But it was pretty cold. Not like outrageously, but I kept my gloves on and my long sleeve shirt on the whole time.
Did you?
Which I've never done before
Huh.
in a race.
I did not think it was that cold.
Well, it wasn't freezing. It was just not warm enough to take it off.
Okay.
It went all right. The only gripe I would have, other than the aid stations, which if the kids had a little direction, like spread out a little bit and hold it with 2 hands, like, and then.
And then also your pace group, right? Just stopped and talked.
But yeah, it wasn't just them. It was I sat behind the 2:15 pace group for the first few miles, and they just all of them just went to the water station and started talking to each other. I'm like, really? They just stopped running at like 1.5 miles and started yapping at the aid station. And then the kids would go and get water and talk to each other while they're picking up more water cups. And you're like, but lost my train of thought. Oh, right. So it started and ended at a high school, which I assume was why the kids were there. And they started right at the front and just went and took a corner and went out. But when you came in, they were like, crap, we're a quarter or a half mile short. So they ran past the start line on like the entry or exit side. And then you like winged your way around the parking lot and around the back.
So
and
frustrating.
Randomly at the back of the school, they had this set up in the middle of the parking lot.
You should have reversed it.
Yeah.
Psychologically, the last like quarter.
Well, yeah, I mean, you could
Half
see the start coming, and you're like, yeah, I'm done. And
done.
then you get there, and it just, you can't see it. It's behind the school, and you're like,
Right. It's on a
where
little
the
bit of an
hell-
incline.
Yeah, where the hell is the line?
Yeah. You're just like, I'm done, and I'm not done.
But, yeah, that was my only gripe other than the aid station, which is why I gave it 4 Keanos.
Working on. So, may I? You done? You good?
Yeah.
Okay,
I like
so-
this medal, though. It's pretty
yeah.
new agey.
It is nice. So Jennifer, you'd think that Jennifer learned her lesson at the beginning of yeah, that is nice. At the beginning of this year in 2018, which is don't show up for a race if you haven't trained. If you'll remember, in the Houston Marathon in January, I showed up and missed it by about a little over a minute.
Continue.
Nice band, nice band. But I have been doing a lot of treadmill work. I've been running a little bit in the mornings, but I haven't really been training. I was going to do all this mentally. And they tell you, your body gives out before your mind does. And I would say probably that's true 99% of the time, but that is not what happened last Sunday. So mentally, I was good. I was ready to go. And the first 7 miles were good. I felt pretty good. I did not realize I was running as slow as I was until I got passed by the 3-hour pacers.
Embarrassing.
So embarrassing. And actually this course had a 3-hour cutoff, so I'm sure you can kind of, foreshadowing what's coming. But mentally, I was solid. I remember the last 6 miles, like being the fastest I've ever run in my life, like emotionally, mentally, because I would get to that one and I'd say, okay, I'm coming for you, number 8, and I was focused. I felt so good mentally. What started happening is around mile 10, I started to feel my knees, the inside, starting to lock up, which was affecting my ankles. So what I was doing is they had the cones out fairly well spaced. I would run from cone to cone and then walk as fast as I could and run. And that's the only way I could keep my legs from locking up. But I mean, mentally, I was there. It was awesome. So I stayed well ahead of the 3-hour pacers, which is good because one guy, like, fit guy, obviously works out, chatting the whole time about how he won first place in his last triathlon. Like, then why are you the 3-hour pacer, sweetheart? Anyway, like I'm thinking some expletives in my mind. Like, do you not, like, anyway. So I stay ahead of them and I'm good, and I get to mile 13 and I am like pumped. I'm like, the world is my oyster. I can do this. I'm going to do so much better. I'm just like mentally, like, if you're that close to the finish line, you know what I'm talking about. Like, this is why we run. So I get there, I turn the corner, I see what was the start gate and realize that's not the finish line. So I start to get pissed. We're talking 2 minutes to go. So I keep going and I'm like,
it was further than 2 minutes.
2 minutes? What did
It took me like 3 minutes.
Okay, well, that's probably why I got stuck in my head. So I'm like, okay, I just gotta go for it. So I'm just gonna run the whole thing. Well, then my legs locked up, like seriously locked up, and I couldn't run or I was gonna fall. So I have to slow down and I start cursing. And here comes the 3-hour pacer. And they're like, come on, you've come so far, you can do this. And I'm like, bitch, they don't move. Excuse me. They're not moving. So then this one lady sees me and I'm dropping F-bombs. And she's like, I've been where you are. I'm like, no, you haven't. No, you haven't. Because where I am right now is my life, my work life is failing, and I hate going to work, and this was going to be my harbinger of what's coming next. And then I see him to the right, and he's like, there's no crying, because I was crying.
There's no crying and running.
There's no crying and running, and I'm like, oh, there's crying. And so I get there, and the 3-hour pacers pass me, and I'm like, well, that's it. You know, that's I didn't finish the course under time. So I just keep going. Funny story, next day he sends me a link to the video that they took. I guess they set up a camera at the finish line, and apparently I dropped an F-bomb right as I went past. So for those of you who don't like cursing, I'm sorry, but it is my love language.
It's on YouTube somewhere.
It's on YouTube somewhere. I was so, like, because mentally I was there, but really my body just wasn't ready. And I've been wearing like the flat barefoot shoes, but I haven't trained in them very far. I think the furthest I'd run was like probably 3 miles in them. So anyway, you know, like, it's a win in many ways, but overall it's just a reminder that you really, and the thing that bothers me is, like, 2 years ago I could do that. I could show up for a half marathon, run it in 2:15, 2:30, and limp away and feel good about myself. I've been sitting on my butt for the past 2.5 years because my lifestyle, my job changed, and it's just not your body. You lose it. Use it or lose it. So, got the Houston Marathon coming up at the beginning of 2019, and I know for a fact if I don't train, I'm not going to be able to finish. And I am not finishing another race. So, anyway, overall, I would say it was good. It's just, I'm disappointed.
How many Keanos?
I'd give it 2 Keanos, but I would say it's more or less my fault.
You can't judge the race on your performance.
Oh, all right, fine. Then I would say overall, I would say 3 Keanos, and this is why. I found the pacer to be annoying. Also, I do not think that the pacers were right, because I think they started behind me because they passed me, and I don't really know where they were. But I think even if I had come in ahead of them, there's still a good chance that I wouldn't have finished the course because of, because you go by your chip time. So, I would say the pacers, like, standing at the back. In fact, when the 2:35 group came in, there's a female pacer who was great, and the male pacer who was, fit as heck, but just a total, what. And she said, oh, I think the 2:35 group just came in, and he said, oh, that's not very. I heard there weren't very many elites today. Like, get off this course. Like, there were people out there with knee braces that you could build, like, platforms on. Older people who are, like, overcoming cancer, like, they're not out there because they're gonna have this great looking butt, which he sort of did, but I'm gonna discount it because he was a jerk. Like, they're out there doing the best that they can, and you're back there talking about how there's not enough elites here and you just won first place at a triathlon, but you're pacing the 3-hour group. Like, who are you and what are your real issues? How small is your car? Anyway,
I digress.
I do
As
digress.
it were.
Anyway, I enjoyed it. I'm glad I did it. I wish I had.
Continue.
I wish I had trained harder. Hi, Mr. Buddy. He says, I'm camera shy, Daddy. I'm camera shy. Do you want to say hi to everybody? Anyway, that's all I've got. We don't have any more paintings up.
We gotta go. Our memory card is full.
Yep. All right. Bye.